one day I came to work and several of my friends weren't at work, and I didn't know why. I later found out that one of my really good friends, Jennifer, and she knows I talk about her a lot, was raped by one of our other friends' husbands. The FBI came with a subpoena, and then
it started to
went into the computer and saw the sexual assault against Denise that he had recorded. And basically everybody's jaw dropped, and then they came out with their public statement.
What was that like when they had to come to you? Because I'm sure at some point they said, hey, you know what, Misty? No. They didn't. They never said, hey, you were right this whole time.
No, nobody.
No, you're kidding me.
I tell people this was the moment in my career that I realized Santa Claus wasn't real. Because I really thought like that's how it worked. Like if I needed you, and you're coming from down south because I need you, you're coming.
Yeah.
Like that's how it worked. We work together. Yeah. We all bleed blue. Like this is it, right? And now you're telling me that we're not going to work together, that we are not going to share information. And I'm over here looking online at a woman with blonde hair. I have a blonde hair. They called her and her boyfriend at the time liars. And I was so confused.
Yes.
It was like somebody punched me in my gut. I shed a lot of tears with my husband on that one. And he just said, keep doing what you're doing.
What do you think women bring to leadership that complements and doesn't compete with men?
I would say...
Have you ever tried believing in someone, knowing that it could cost you your credibility? Or what if I told you that courage in policing isn't always that gunfight? And sometimes it's being willing to be the only one that listens when no one else does. Well, today I have someone who did exactly that. You may recognize her as the star detective from the hit docuseries on Netflix, American Nightmare. I have no one other than the then detective, but now Lieutenant, Misty Caruso. What's up, girl?
This is exciting, Jill. I'm super glad that you flew all the way up here to come hang out with me.
I did. Listen, sometimes it's worth it, right? When you have
I love
access
that. You might as well, right? You got to live.
Yes. You have access. You're not too far, though. You're not too far.
No.
You're up north, not too far from LA. So it was an easy flight. Listen, thank you so much for coming on the human side. I really, really appreciate it. That your ability to help Denise and Aaron in that way was it was awesome. It was everything we want to do as police officers, right?
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about that. We're going to definitely talk about the Netflix series. But as you know, the name of my podcast is The Human Side. And I think it's important that people see us as humans that we are, right?
Absolutely.
And so we want to learn a lot about Lieutenant Misty. Congratulations, by the way, on your promotion. You're welcome. We want to learn a lot about Lieutenant Misty today. So how about we just jump right in?
Okay.
And you tell me, how'd you get started in law enforcement?
A couple things. I grew up in the city of Hayward, which is in the Bay Area, 2 cities away from Oakland, California.
Okay.
And as we all know, like from the news and stuff, Oakland has always been a gang-infested, high, crime city. And
it's been hecka wild.
Yeah, we just lost the chief again, so they're looking for a new chief.
Okay.
So Hayward was riddled with gang violence and drugs. And by the time I think I was 13, we had one outfit for both quinceañeras and funerals because a lot of our friends were getting murdered by gang violence.
Oh, wow. Sheesh.
So fast forward a couple years, I became a statistic and I got pregnant at 15 and a half.
Okay.
And my mother gave me 2 options. One was you can get married and move out, or 2, you can stay in school, get a job, and we will support you in everything that we can.
Okay.
And of course, I was like, I am an adult, but I'm also like, I want my mommy. I need my mom. So I was like, I'm done with you. I'm staying with my mom.
Right.
And
just kidding. I don't want to be adult.
Yeah. So when I was 16, I had my son. That was circa 1997.
Okay.
And he's 29, which is funny because I have deputies younger than him that are coming through. It's weird.
You don't look like, can I just tell you, you look good. You do not look like you have a 29-year-old.
Thank you. Health and wellness. We'll get to that.
We will get there for sure. For sure.
So I became a statistic. My mother, she supported me and my son. I graduated high school on time, and then I started thinking about what I really wanted to do, and I was going to go into Healed Business College, which is funny because not that many people know what Healed Business is.
What is
it
that?
used to be like a side college just to get like your AA in like business administration or something to that effect. And because we had Governor Gray Davis I guess Governor Gray Davis was our governor at the time. I don't know how to explain that. He really pushed for education and helping those like myself who were single parents not become part of the system.
Okay.
So my financial aid advisor said, "Why don't you go to college?" And I giggled. I said, "Well, first off, nobody in my family's ever gone to college." Wow. And they said, "Well, we'll give you the financial assistance to do that."
Nice.
So my mother ended up dragging me to Safeway, told the manager, "This is my daughter. She needs a job with benefits because she has a baby. Here she is." And he looked at her. His name was Dario. Like she was crazy, but I was like, I guess I'll hire her. So I became.
His mom said I had to.
Yeah, she's kind of wild in my face. And I will tell you, fast forward, I did the same thing to my son. I went to Safeway. I said, I am,
I love that.
My son needs a job. So
I love it.
Did that. Got into the financial aid, went to Chabot College, which is a JC here in the Bay Area, and then I transferred to Cal State Hayward, which is now East Bay, and got my degree within 4 years. It was the cutest thing ever because I was able to take my son with me to classes.
No way.
These teachers and professors were so amazing. Like
Are
they
you
really
serious?
supported
me
and my son. So we would sit in the back and he would color and I would learn. And I thank everybody that was a part of my education journey because I would not have been able to do it alone. There's no way. It really does take a village.
Wow.
So I was still working at Safeway. I thought I wanted to go into something like, this is crazy to even say, a little. The IRS has special agents. So I was like, oh, maybe I could be a special agent for the IRS. And then taking accounting in college, I was like, this is absolutely not something I want to do. Like, why would I ever do anything with numbers? I can't count past 10 fingers and 10 toes. So my mother knew the late sheriff for the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. And he would come he wouldn't, but his wife would shop at the Safeway I worked at. He would stay outside and smoke his cigars. Boisterous man, like exuded command presence, tall guy. And his wife came through my line one day, and her name was Norma. And little Norma was like, "You should get a job with my husband." And at this time, I had a nose ring, a fake tan, big red burgundy hair.
I just pictured all that. That's great.
And I was like, yeah, Norma, I think you're kind of funny. Like, it's totally not me. I'm in the dance club every night, like living my life.
Right.
And so she said, well, maybe you should go out and talk to my husband. I said, sure, I will go do that. I went outside and I'm looking up at this man who, like I said, he just he's the sheriff, right? And I was like, hi, Sheriff Plummer, Norma said I should get a job with you. And he looked down on me and he said, little lady, I'll teach you to shoot really well. And I was like, well, I don't really know what that means, like, because my friends are all, like, kind of dead and we're in the gang. So I was, like, trying to process what that even meant, right? I've never touched a gun.
Right.
So he said, why don't you send me your resume? I'm like, my resume is, like, Safeway. And
mom.
Yeah, and mom.
And mom. Don't leave that off of there.
We'll see what we can do. So I sent my resume through the post mail, right? Because that's back. There was no email.
Right. We actually sent things in the mail.
And I was waiting for that to happen. And during this time, I was working at Safeway, and there was a bunch of us working together, a bunch of like brand new moms, young families, and we were all really good friends.
Yeah.
And one day I came to work and several of my friends weren't at work, and I didn't know why. I later found out that one of my really good friends, Jennifer, and she knows I talk about her a lot, was raped by one of our other friends' husbands.
Oh my gosh.
The night prior.
Wow.
And it was pretty horrific.
Wow.
Like, he actually had an MO, and Jennifer helped find another victim to come forward. Long story short, the Alameda County Sheriff's Office did their investigation. They were able to prosecute with the DA's office, and he ended up getting 56 to life in prison.
Very nice.
It seems nice, but now, like, there's this, I mean, we can just go into all kinds of sorts of things, but he is eligible for elder parole. Didn't know that was the thing. And so we just went up to the review board, and they said, well, because he hadn't shown in the last 20 years that he was violent against women, because he's in a male prison, that unfortunately, Jennifer, you will have to live in fear for the rest of your life, but we're giving him a chance.
So they approved his early release. No way.
Pretty devastating. And this is just another systemic issue as to why women and victims do not come forward, right?
Yeah.
So I saw what the sheriff's office did for my friend Jennifer. I was figuring out what I was going to do. The sheriff offered me a job, so I sent my resume in, and within 3 months, I was in the academy.
Really?
Just like that. All I was told about the academy was that you got to do a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, and you have to run with rocks.
You have to run with rocks. What is that about? Tell me about that. We weren't running with rocks in LA.
So our agency, there's the training center that is right next to the jail. There's a bunch of hills, and there's like this little, I guess, ravine with no water in it. I don't know what you would call it. I'm not in all that. Anyways, there's a whole thing where you go and you pick up a set of rocks. And those are basically your buddies for 6 months. And pre-academy, I didn't understand like what size rocks you wanted me to carry. So I went and got like these big river rocks. And so I would be running around like the track in the city of Hayward, or running up hills at Lake Chabot with rocks.
In your hand? Like just rocks in your hand?
Just rocks, yeah.
These
are your rocks. Just rock. So I didn't know what they were for. I had no clue. So then I get to the academy, and you go through your hell week.
Yeah.
And we are doing our PT, and one day we come up to the hill, and they tell us, these are your rocks. This is your gun and your life, your partner, whatever you want to call it. These are your rocks, and you will carry them with you wherever you go, because they are basically saving your life. And not only that, it does help with strengthening like your hands for shooting your guns, and all of that. But they were basically like your little buddies, and you carried them wherever you went. Literally, like every PT, you had your rocks. Like
that is rocks. Very interesting, and I don't know if I like that.
They weren't.
I don't know how I feel about the rock.
Yeah,
carrying.
They weren't big boulder rocks like I was carrying. And if the guys picked up a tiny rock, the training officers would be like, no,
dude,
put
go
it back.
So
I kept those rocks for a very long time. You're supposed to throw them back as like a rite of passage when you finish. When you finish, I kept mine.
That is
so now instead of running with rocks, they run with one rock and a bottle of water, because we have changed throughout the years.
Things have changed slightly.
Yes.
I think that is. I'm sorry. I'm just really amused by the rock situation. My thing is, your hands need to be free. Like if they're simulating,
it really does help, like strengthen your forearms and your grip for shooting guns. But it does also.
I didn't think about that.
Keep in my looking back now, it also helps with like when you're at your lowest of lows, you're trying to run up these hills, and you're trying to push out another push up and everything. It's like staying in the fight.
Okay.
You still have to make sure where all of your equipment is, your gun is, and your rocks.
Okay.
And your rocks. Don't forget the rocks.
Don't forget the rocks.
Ever.
Okay, so you go straight into the academy.
Straight into the academy.
Did you play sports growing up?
I only ran cross country and track. Okay. Not like a lot. It was just like for, I think, a season or two, because then I ended up getting pregnant in my junior. Was it my junior year?
Yeah.
Junior year, and then
So but you obviously made it through the academy. What was the academy like for you?
Well, it was the only time, I tell this to everybody, the only time I would ever let any man talk to me
crazy
and yell at me like they did. because I came from a gang neighborhood, right? Like we didn't have discipline. I mean, my mother was amazing. I wasn't a wild child. Like her house was the safety house. So you left your gang shit at the door. Pardon my French.
That's all good.
But it was the only time. And then I kept being told it will be the best time. You will get paid for getting in the best shape of your life.
Yeah. And
so
that's
I was like,
I
was like, okay, I'm just gonna do
it. Right.
So we were all, I think there was, I don't know how many there was of us, but there was a lot of females, surprisingly.
Really? Okay.
And we all.
What's a lot?
I think there was more than 10 to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. For the most part.
I was really proud of myself. I didn't wear any makeup. I got rid of my nose ring. I let my, did I dye my hair back? No, I didn't. It was still burgundy at the time. But it was a lot.
Yeah.
And you learn grit.
Yes.
Like I already knew that because I was a single mom. I'm like, I didn't want to be a statistic. I didn't want to do all these things. And my mother, she was very good at pushing me to be the best.
That's awesome.
And to be very independent. I feel sorry for my husband. I love him, but my mother. It's my mother's fault. I'm so independent.
It's good though, because that was you were building resilience, right? And you absolutely need that in this job, right? Because you're constantly getting knocked down, let down, right? And it may not be you, but it may be other people, other agencies, other situations, and you have to be able to build yourself back up and keep going. So that is awesome. I love that. Wow, interesting. The Rocks too.
The Rocks. I love that academy too. I look back and I'm like, we did it.
Yes,
it was a lot.
That is awesome. So to go from teen mom, to Safeway, to which actually let's think about it. I worked at a grocery store too back at home. It's called Ralph's. You guys have Ralph's out here up north? Maybe not. No. Or maybe a part of Safeway.
Yes.
But the point I'm making is to go from there straight into the academy, right? Now, let me ask you this: what surprised you most about it? About getting into the job, like going from regular life into policing? What surprised you the most? Do you think
that I could actually do it?
Okay.
That I was at that time barely 5 feet. I was barely pushing 100 pounds.
I think you might be 4'9".
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Maybe. That I was barely 100 pounds, and that I could actually do the push-ups, do the sit-ups, and then shoot guns and do all the things that the guys could do.
Yes.
And I could do it. I could jump a 6-foot fence. It wasn't pretty, but I did it.
Yeah.
And that it was actually fun.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was going to dread everything about the academy because of all the horror stories.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah.
And then you graduate and then you go on through your career. And I'm like, I get paid to do this.
I agree.
The most rewarding job, noble profession. It has had its, ebbs and flows and ups and downs. But
for sure.
Yeah, I was just surprised that I could do it. So when I go out there and do my talks and promotions and talk about, law enforcement, I'm like, I always tell people, if I could do it, you can do it.
Right.
It's just your own mindset.
Yeah, for sure. So what was that first day? First day on patrol. Now, do you guys know every agency is different? Do you guys go straight to the jail? Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. So at what point did you get back to, or which point did you get to patrol? Did you do patrol? No? Okay.
So, I did patrol. I started off at the jail. I was there for, I want to say, almost 4 years. I was a jail training officer, and then I got transferred to the courts. I was the bailiff for the Johannes Meserly Oscar Grant pretrial.
Okay.
And I learned a lot from that. And then it was funny. The board of supervisors, there was a lady that was on the board, and she would come into the courtroom, and she did not like the fact that my judge enforced his rules. It's his courtroom. I didn't realize how much power judges have. They have a lot. But basically, no gum chewing, no hats, no cell phones, the usual. And as the bailiff, you have to enforce his rules.
Right.
She did not like that, so she complained. And to play the politics, my sheriff at the time said, let's remove her from the courtroom. And it was, you didn't do anything wrong, Misty, but we're just going to remove you from the courtroom. And you can go to a different courtroom. And my judge and I were both like, this isn't fair. But I get politics. So they figured they had nowhere else to put me. So they finally sent me to the field training officer program, which was all I ever wanted to do. I just wanted to be out there and be the detective that solved cases like my friend Jennifer's case and get those survivors the justice they deserve. That's all I wanted. So I was like, this is all it took? That's all it took. It took me
I would have did this a long time ago.
4.5 years to get out. And that's all it took.
Okay.
So I was like, it made no sense to me. So I went out to my first day out there. Was kind of funny because you're rolling around with your FTO.
Yes.
And he was driving. Yes. And at the time we just got these pretty Chargers, the Hemis, they're loud.
Yeah.
And he was driving it. That's so terrible. And
you're like, I wanted to drive it.
Well, there's blind spots. So he's pulling out.
They have horrible blind spots. Horrible blind spots.
So he's pulling out of a supermarket parking lot and he doesn't see this car, but I see the car. And all I could say was, oh my God. And he just, boom, hits this
first day
tiny little Fiat.
Oh, no.
I felt awful. And he looked at me. He's like, that's all you could have said? I was like, I am so sorry. I saw it coming. I thought you did too. But it was the teeny tiny little Fiat was right in the blind spot.
They do. Listen, those Chargers, they look great, right? They look aggressive, but they suck as far as functionality. And they're fast. Yes. But they suck as far as functionality.
So I just looked at him and I was like, thank God that wasn't me.
Yeah.
He would have failed me.
It. Clearly, they would have sent you right back to the jail. Like
100.
This is not for you, girl. This is not
you just
for you.
ruined my brand new car. I'm like, it wasn't me.
Okay, so you finally get out there. You're going. Let me ask you this: did you find? Well, let's go into leadership. Okay, you are a lieutenant now. Mm-hmm. Was there someone in leadership position that maybe you looked to mentor you once you got kind of going and got into your career and all that kind of stuff?
I didn't have any real one specific mentor. I had a lot of bad supervisors.
Ooh,
I had been told one time that I was unsafe because I was sitting with my legs crossed. During my FTO, it was after a call. It was on midnights. We were all hanging out together, and the sergeant pulled my FTO to the side and said that he needed to write me up for putting on lip gloss. And I was like, okay. I love my FTO because the next day during muster, instead of writing me up, he basically had all the guys pull out their chapsticks and put them on in front of the sergeant in muster. So I was like, thank you for that. So I had really, really bad sergeants and leaders. And then when I was going through some personal stuff I was terrible at relationships, terrible. And I remember going through one relationship and a female, she's since retired as a captain. We were really good friends, and she came up to me and she was like, I am sick of it. And I was like, sick of what? She's like, I'm sick of you talking about, your personal life. It's just one day it's this, then it's like that. And you guys break up to make up, and you're over here crying, you're over here whining, figure it out. And I was like, ugh. I feel like as a leader, sometimes, even just as a person, you need to have hard conversations. And my feelings weren't hurt.
Right.
It was more just like a slap and a wake up call. And I was like,
she's right.
She's totally right.
Yeah.
I got to get my stuff together. She's tired of hearing about this. Every day she asks me how I'm doing. I'm like, and she's like, no, I want to hear that you're excelling, that you're inspired, that you're influencing, that you're going out there, you're doing your job, you're supporting the community. All that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear about poor me, Misty, anymore. Right. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll get my stuff together. Yeah. So that's what I did.
Nice. Nice.
But as far as leadership now, because, I'm taking on a different role, and middle management is being the punching bag for your agency sometimes.
That's what I hear. It's a
lot to take in. But it's also a really good way to deliver how you're going to deliver the command staff's message. You can deliver it either really positive or really negative. So I like being the middleman on that. I just don't like being the punching bag.
Right.
But my male leaders on the agency have been phenomenal. I've had, maybe it's just me. I don't know. I've been in meetings where my captain, who's since promoted to commander, he says, Misty, you need to fix your face. And I'm like, oh no, I'm doing it again, huh? And he's like, yeah, you always do it. Like when you know that something, when somebody says something that's ridiculous, you do make a face. And I'm like, oh no. I said, but I got a lot of Botox, so I shouldn't be able to make a face. He's like, oh, you do. But those are the guys who are behind me. And I love telling people that, right now I am a project manager at Santa Rita Jail. I do all of the construction projects that are coming up, and there's like 6, maybe 4, 6 right now. And the majority of my staff is probably 60 to 80 people a day.
Okay.
They're primarily men.
Right.
And I feel like you don't have to be a leader at any just given rank.
Yeah.
But those guys that I get to work with, they're the ones who support me. They make sure that I'm hydrated, make sure that I'm eating healthy, making sure I'm taking time for myself, because I don't.
Yeah.
And I love those guys.
Yeah.
It's hard for us in our agency to have real good female leaders. So I really push myself out there to be a good, mentor and guide for the brand new females and some of the tenured ones, because I just know what it's like to be alone.
Absolutely, for sure. And you bring that up. So you talked about how a lot of your male counterparts have been great leaders. What do you think that women bring to the table as leaders that complements policing? And I definitely, we talked about this before. I want to preface, I think we both know the importance of interdependence, right? And collaboration between men and women. This is not we don't believe that you have to bash the men for the women to succeed and all that good stuff, right? But there should be some attention, right? Because we are, I look at any department across the country, and then we make a very small percentage. So what do you think? What do you think women bring to leadership that complements and doesn't compete with men?
I would say vulnerability, availability, listening, as opposed, I'm emotional. Sometimes I react. I've been 20 years in law enforcement, so I'm from the old school mindset, but I have since progressed and growth. We think outside the box. Like, law enforcement has changed.
Yeah.
It's no longer, it's always going to be about officer safety and tactics.
Yes.
But there's another component, the human component of law enforcement is so important. It is. It is everything. And women can make anybody at the table think, critically think. So when I'm at the table and I'm the only female lieutenant on my agency right now, and sometimes the only woman in the room, I like to lean in and talk about or make them think hey, let's do something outside the box. So last year I had this great idea to do coffee with the command staff at the jail. We do we do community outreach, but we don't do anything for really our employees. And my captains and my commander were like, we don't really need to go and be out there with the staff members. I said, well, I don't agree with that at all. You can be out there. You don't have to micromanage. You can just go out there and say hi.
Right.
You can
go be a human being, dude.
Go walk around and see and meet your teams.
Yeah.
So they went with it. They were like, whatever you think is right, Misty, you do it. But they wouldn't have thought about it otherwise. It would have been a talk, but the actual doing the engagement probably wouldn't have happened. So I think women bring different insight. We do have different instincts than men do. I don't want to, like you said, make it men versus women. No. But sometimes when you walk in the room and you can give a different perspective, it's so important.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I agree with you. It's very well said. The coffee, they don't want to have coffee with their people. Come on, guys.
I think it makes them uncomfortable, and I'm all about making people uncomfortable, because at some point you're just going to go, okay, here we go again. So we did it again, and it was And they were like, let's do it again. I was
and
like,
there's so much growth in discomfort.
Yes.
Right? Like if you're just comfortable all the time, you're stale. You're standing still,
Yes.
right? You're just a
can't
little
stand it
nasty,
either.
not moving water, right?
Yes.
So, okay. That's just, I guess it's us.
Yeah, it must be.
So let me ask, okay, let's talk about, you talked about a little bit about wellness. Okay. I want to talk about wellness and how you were able to, or the challenge that it was doing the actual show. Okay, we'll get to the Netflix show. Do you know I guess the success? Did they tell you how big the
I really didn't. It's so terrible. I wasn't really paying attention to like how many viewers.
Yeah.
I just knew when they were going to release it that it was going to be seen in 160 countries.
160 countries.
And I was like, oh, that's fine.
Right,
And so
right.
Netflix does a great job. I don't know who he actually was. Maybe he was like the VP. They call you directly.
Okay.
And I just want you to know, Misty, 160 countries. We always, put everybody in touch with psychiatrists so they can process what's coming.
Yeah. Wow. I'm impressed.
And I was like, I'll be fine. I'm already in therapy for so many other reasons.
Right.
And it was pure insanity. I didn't realize how many people watched it. I didn't understand the impact that we as law enforcement officers actually have in the world. We just don't get to see or hear about the thank yous that come our way. We never do. It's like we had this discussion. It's like a thankless job, but man, let me tell you, there are people out there in this world that love officers, that are thriving and hoping and praying that if they're ever in their darkest of darkness, have officers that legitimately care to save them. Like it was. Yeah. It was a lot.
I'm impressed that they had therapists. But listen, and I got too excited because I know we were talking about the show now. How are you approached? Did Aaron and Denise contact you, say, hey, Netflix contacted? Okay. So that was the initial.
So I never talked about the case.
Okay.
I never, for the past, it's been 10 years, I never discussed it with anybody. Like after the case happened, I just went on to my investigation career. I was like, I'm just going to keep going, case to case. And in 2018, when I promoted, I really needed to have some type of closure with it. And so I was like, you know what? The family members had reached out to my chief of police at the time because I was working in the city of Dublin, which contracts with the sheriff's office to provide law enforcement services. And they had reached out. So I was like, okay, I never responded to their emails. Nobody from our agency did.
Okay.
Like, zero communication.
Everybody was like, nah.
Yeah, just keep going.
Right.
So I asked my county counsel, my chief, if I could reach out, and they said that was fine. Ended up meeting Denise and Aaron. I called it the blind date because we knew each other, but we never knew met. Each other. Like, I seen you on TV.
Wow. What was that like?
I would say at the time, my mentor, she told me, like, it's not about you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to show any emotions. You're going to be there for her. You're going to be there for them. You're going to listen. Like I look back and I go, yeah, it wasn't necessarily for me, but it was at the same time because I was facing a lot of challenges with this case and it affected me a lot. Yeah. It made me question why I did what I did and the politics of law enforcement, leadership, all of that. But it was beautiful. I knew, Denise gives the greatest hugs. I will tell everybody and anybody that. We talked for a long time. It was amazing because for so long she had been called a liar and he had been called a liar. Right. So I had all of the evidence, the photos, and I was able to validate that they smelled pine trees, that, where she was in the house in Tahoe. Like, I have the photos of that. I have everything that basically proves everybody else wrong. Right. So for me, it felt so good. Like, I did my job and I did it right because this is why you do what you do. Yeah. Like, it was good.
Man, that's kind of cool. Yeah. That is really cool.
It's just interesting because you're fighting for a case that you don't even know exists. Yeah. And then when you find out it exists, you don't have any communication
Yeah.
with your survivors. That was so that's what I needed when I promoted.
Right.
I needed that closure, and in reality, it just opened up a whole different world for me.
And you would think, and well, maybe as I'm thinking this to myself, you would think with such a case like that, where everybody and their mama, literally, right, the world just knew they were lying. And I don't remember the case, but as I was watching the series, as they were telling the story, I'm thinking, this is crazy. Like, who just drops off a kidnapped victim? That's wild. I'm starting to believe, right, not knowing what happened, that they were lying, right? I'm thinking it as well. And I wasn't even, involved at that time. But, and I went on a whole tangent. I forgot what I was going to say from that.
Because it sounds crazy.
It does. It sounds so crazy. Like,
but as law enforcement officers, I mean, everything is supposed to be crazy. Our job is crazy.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, not every single day do people get called to go and help a lady break into her house, and then you have to go to a call of a robbery in progress.
Right.
So,
no, I agree.
I didn't really, I semi-paid attention to the Vallejo kidnapping case as it was occurring. But I was just, because I get asked this a lot, like, oh, well, you should have known. And I'm like, well, I didn't know. I was really self-centered. I was really focused on my own career. I didn't watch the news like most law enforcement officers don't anymore because it's all bad.
It is, and lies.
And we have to take on other bricks that in our invisible backpack that we don't even know exist because we're watching badness. We're like, we should go out there and save the world.
Right.
So very crazy case. And then you watch it all unfold and they call them liars and Vallejo. And I am not here to talk bad about any agency.
For sure.
But we have to be open to the fact that we make mistakes.
Yeah.
We are human. Once again, we are human. We make mistakes. And to learn from those mistakes is what makes us who we are. And if we can't accept responsibility and accountability, there's no growth. That creates a toxic culture of us versus them. And I'm done with that. Like I'm done.
Agreed. So, all right. You are keen to little things. Are you looking for the hairs? You're looking for this, all these different things. And I know what that's like, right? I've worked human trafficking, narcotics, ICAC, all this stuff, right? And so I get what it's like when you're on that hunt. You solve the case, and now that everything's coming out that, wait a minute, they're not lying. She was legit. They're telling the truth. What was the challenge of that for you mentally? Now, like you said, having to call out policing, essentially, right? Because everybody, the feds, everyone in policing was like, girl, you are tripping.
Yes.
Sit down somewhere and go work on that other case, right?
Yeah.
What was that like? Like, how did your coworkers support you? Did you get backlash? Like, if you can, give me the tea.
So the tea is strong. It was a lot.
Yeah.
My husband saw me go through a bunch of different emotions. It was kind of like heartbreaking. And I talk about this a lot when, you're out on patrol and you're responding to an OIS or somebody needs assistance in a different jurisdiction, you go.
Yeah, and OIS is the officer involved shooting for those who don't know.
Apologies.
No, you're good.
But you go.
Yeah.
You don't care. You don't know who you're going to.
Right.
You don't even sometimes know exactly what street you're going to. You just hit the little message navigation on whatever you're using to get there, and you put your life on the line for somebody that may be a stranger. So for me, coming from the patrol side of it and getting to respond to the cities of Hayward, San Lorenzo, Oakland, for those types of incidents, it was a no-brainer. And here I am transitioning to investigations where my sergeant, who has since retired, wasn't the greatest. He didn't, I was told I was doing the most. So every time I would find an update, and I'm like, well, my whole job wasn't the Dublin case itself. It was collecting and processing the evidence because I was a tech out on the streets. I was a crime scene tech.
Okay.
So that was my job, my role. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not going to sit in this tiny cubicle and do nothing while the guys do something. So I just started looking at all of the evidence. And every time I would get an update, I'd run over and tell somebody and it'd be like, you're just doing the most, Misty.
Wow.
And
I
I
kind of
was like,
dismiss you a little bit, huh?
Yeah. And it was a different culture. So coming from like a different patrol experience, which was the Eden Township substation, Hayward and all that area where my family was, where the ghetto, that was my leveling. I could talk the talk. Like I was not silver spooned, right? Like I loved working over in the community I grew up in. Like I was there.
Home. It was home.
Yeah. So then I go into this neighborhood or the city of Dublin, which is, I always mess it up, like affluent or affluent.
Yeah. You got it.
And even their culture in law enforcement was different. So they knew that I was the most. Like everybody knew I had a potty mouth, that I had, some type of attention disorder because I was just always go. It was definitely different for me to go from so many calls, like shagging calls, to having to sit, and it was just different.
Yeah.
So they kind of knew that I was the most, and it would bother me when they'd be like, just go back. And finally when I found the hair, made the phone calls, did all these things, and I go in and tell my sergeant, like, hey, the FBI is interested in our evidence, like, let's give them what we got. It was a hard no.
Yeah.
And I tell people this was the moment in my career that I realized Santa Claus wasn't real.
Okay.
Because I really thought like that's how it worked. Like if I needed you, and you're coming from down south because I need you, you're coming.
Yeah.
Like that's how it worked. We work together.
Yeah.
We all bleed blue. Like this is it, right?
Right.
And now you're telling me that we're not going to work together, that we are not going to share information. And I'm over here looking online at a woman with blonde hair. I have a blonde hair. They called her and her boyfriend at the time liars. And I was so confused.
Yes.
It was like somebody punched me in my gut. I shed a lot of tears with my husband on that one. And he just said, keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, that's
like
good.
I don't care, Misty.
Yeah.
Like whatever you're doing, you go and do it. And I was like, okay. And I would just put on my big girl panties and just go back to work and just suck it up. And
so it's fair to say they weren't supportive of you in that process.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's fair to, and no shade, right?
No
it's just
shade.
it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like
some of the guys were like, yeah, but the other ones, like my sergeant, he was like, we don't have time for that. Like we got our guy, he's in custody. And
so they had someone that they thought had already committed the crime. No. Okay. So what do you mean when you said they had somebody in custody?
We ended up having a home invasion in the city of Dublin.
Right.
And he left his cell phone.
Right.
And it ended up being the same suspect involved in the Vallejo kidnapping case.
Right.
But at the time, when I was going through all the evidence, I didn't know, like I was putting two and two together, but there was no actual evidence. Because we hadn't gone through the electronics. We hadn't done cell phone dumps. We were, I can't remember the Senate bill that changed where we had to write search warrants.
Yes.
So
before we could just go on your phone, now we got to actually have a search warrant. Exactly.
Right? Give me your face.
Look here.
Yes. Can't do any of that. So
yes, that's to be a good
before
time.
we could do any of that, I was just putting the pieces together. And when I called back the FBI and said, hey, my sergeant said, you're going to have to figure it out. And here's his phone number. The FBI came with a subpoena, and then
it started to
went into the computer and saw the sexual assault against Denise that he had recorded. And basically everybody's jaw dropped, and then they came out with their public statement.
Listen,
yeah.
Let me just say, what was that like when they had to come to you? Because I'm sure at some point they said, hey, you know what, Misty? No. They didn't. They never said, hey, you were right this whole time.
No, nobody.
No, you're kidding me. To this day, right now.
No. I don't know. So the FBI agent that I spoke to ended up, and Denise and Aaron, before Netflix came out, they wrote a book called Victim F, and it goes into really in depth on like a lot of things. And the FBI agent at the time who was doing their investigation had ties to Aaron, the male victim's ex-girlfriend. They were dating.
Right.
So there was huge conflict.
Oh, that's right.
And I would reach out, and then he finally just like basically,
they were trying to save face too. Everybody was trying to
cut off.
save
Boom!
face.
No more emails, Misty. Like you're just done,
dude.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
Never ever spoke to Vallejo. Not that I expected to.
Yeah.
Even when my when it came out, like my lieutenant, he was very sweet. He went on TV and he was like, like Misty, she's like a bulldog. She just goes out there and she was like nonstop.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of support.
Yeah, you got recognition. I think and it deserves. And I'm sure you didn't want it. You were like, oh, I didn't do it for people to recognize me. But in that situation where everyone didn't believe you and you're like, no, dude, look at the evidence. It means this. And for that to actually be the case, it's like, at least, can I get a thank you?
I didn't even like know how to, I literally compartmentalized that entire thing. I did the fight or flight. I was like, I'm not going to deal, like it was very emotional. And I didn't find out like through the news. Like my mother called me because I was on vacation with my son and my husband. And she was like, oh my God, like you're on the news and you solved this case and everybody's calling you like the bulldog. And it was very cute. I came back from vacation and I had like bulldog pictures all over my cubicle. So it was nice, but I wasn't expecting any recognition.
Of course not. No, and we don't do the job for that.
No,
you don't do the job for that, and it's more so doing the job. That's the recognition, right, and helping other people.
Yes,
that is awesome. I love that. Okay, so I want to talk. I would remember watching the show, and you were talking about. This is just something I guess for me as an investigator. One of the things that tipped you off was the person who had the stolen car, the owner, right? That was kind of your first real lead, right? And that came from you just talking to him.
Yes.
Literally just having a conversation. Right? And I, as an investigator and knowing the importance of a good interview is everything for a case. So the fact that you were able, what was it that made you dig deeper and to have that conversation with the guy who's you're just trying to return his car, really and truly. You're like, hey, we found your car, bro. And what else, right?
Yeah. Funny, growing up in Hayward, we were around illegal street racing and lowriders. So, and my mother loved cars. She worked at a muffler shop.
Okay.
And so cars, I owned a Corvette. I was very egocentric. So I loved high performance vehicles.
You were team too much, remember?
Team too much here. I'm not going to lie. My license plate said Heartbreaker on it. Yes, I was that girl.
You might be a little too much now.
I do the most.
Do the most.
So I didn't know I had all this evidence, but because I knew cars, I was like, I'm going to talk to this guy. I want to talk to him. I want to know. You don't just steal a Mustang. You steal like a 97 Honda Accord.
That's true. So, if you're going to caper, you want to be discreet.
So I'm like, why would he steal this car? So I ended up contacting the registered owner. Great guy. He was living on the island of Mare Island in the city of Vallejo with a bunch of these college students at the time. They were all going to get their PhD. So they were at this university called Toro University, which is a medical university. I had no idea, right? I only went to Vallejo, which is 40 miles from where I live, for Marine World, which is now Six Flags, or car shows.
Okay.
So I just started talking to him. I was like, first, I want to know what your car looked like when you purchased it. Because I'm pretty sure the car I'm looking at right now looks probably different.
Right.
So he was able to send me photos. And we built that connection based off the fact that I knew cars and that I had an appreciation for them. And then so I said, how was it stolen? Where was it parked? Who had access to it? Because like I said, it was interesting, his car got stolen. Like my car at the time, one of my cars, my commuter was a 97 Honda Accord.
Absolutely.
So I had to put on one of those old steel
The
bars
clubs.
on it. The club.
Yeah,
I had to have a club.
Yeah.
So he ended up just telling me everything. And then I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then he mentioned that during the time his car got stolen, there was this man that they deemed the Mare Island or named the Mare Island Creeper who was going around being a peeping Tom in their community.
Right.
I'm like, do tell me more.
Right.
Like I just kept saying, tell me more.
Yeah.
And so he would just tell me everything. And then he told me about Denise and Aaron and that there was a kidnapping that occurred that the media called a hoax.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm like,
You're
oh
like,
my God. It was like
wait.
boom, boom,
Right.
boom. And I'm like, oh my God, this man knows a lot that we just don't know.
Right.
So he put me in touch with some of the other college students. They had email thread about the Mare Island Creeper. They had all kinds of documented incidents through Vallejo PD. And it was pretty incredible. And then that's when I contacted Vallejo and asked them to help me. And they said that they needed to forward me to the FBI. And so it was basically this man and his car were pretty much the reason why I
100
because I had to find something to start with, right? I collected all kinds of electronics. You know, there was other items, letters, cards, but the one thing that was easy for me was the car.
And that's what stood out to me as an investigator. I was like, it all started right there. That conversation that she had. And typically when a car is stolen, 9 out of 10 times you contact the owner. Hey, we have your car that was stolen. When do you want to get it?
Yes.
And that's the end of the conversation, right? Unless, of course, it's involved in the crime. Or once after it's been processed, actually, right?
Yes.
Because once you get it and it's processed, we collect all the evidence. Then it's that phone call. Hey, we have your car. By the way, you can come get it out of the tow yard. Blah, blah, blah. That's it.
Yep, that's it.
But you went further and that further. And I want to say this as sometimes we get officers or people who want to be officers. Like, this is important. Like, it's these small things, these conversations that are huge in investigations.
Yes.
That was the one. I was like, that's how she did it right there. When you said the vehicle, I was like, that's it. That's a good investigator right there, girl.
It was easy for me. Like, I found I found something that I knew I was going to be good.
Yeah.
Like figuring out another tie.
Yeah.
But having conversations in law enforcement is extremely difficult, especially in the generation of my cell phone is stuck to my hand and my other cell phone, if you have a second one, is stuck to the other one.
Most of us do, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, and these generations don't communicate.
Yeah.
Luckily, I tell people and they get, like the sheriff's offices, we are in charge of correctional facilities for the most part. They get really bummed out that they have to be at the jails. And I'm like, well, that's a terrible perspective because when I first started, I was always told, this is your learning ground.
Yes, it's where you start to learn how to communicate, dude.
Yeah, you're talking to murderers, pedophiles, serial rapists.
Yep.
So
and they'll talk to you.
Yeah, and they love
They will
themselves.
tell you everything about all the bad stuff that they did, why they did it, how they did it. And how they gonna give away with it again if they get out.
Absolutely.
Right?
So I would tell all of my trainees as a training officer, like, go out and then just ask like them where they're from, what their name is, what their favorite color is. It sounds bizarre and very basic, but it gets you talking. And then what it does is, well, okay, you were arrested for, this, like, how did you get away with it for so long?
Exactly.
And then they just spill the beans and you're like, done.
That is how literally how you build your expertise as an investigator, as an officer. Like you're getting inside information on criminal activity from someone who commits criminal activity. Yes. Where else are you going to get it? Yeah. Where else are you going to get it?
And people just get weird about it. I'm like, it's okay to talk to them.
Yeah,
because they want
for
to
sure.
talk.
For sure.
They want to tell you. And
that's what I learned too when I first started from my FTOs. Like, hey, talk to them. Ask them questions. They'll tell you. Totally. They're not shame. Unfortunately, they're not shame. They're not shame. That is awesome. Listen, I just love that. When I heard that in the vehicle, I was like, that was it. She had an inclination. She kept talking to him and just kept going.
Yeah,
so,
he was great. I actually reached out to him at the beginning of the year. Because I hadn't talked to him, or pretty much, it's like case to case to case.
Yeah.
You never do follow up on the human side
really.
of it.
No.
And so I reached out and I was like, you probably don't remember me.
Right.
He's like, of course I remember you. It's my car.
Exactly.
I never did another follow up. I need to. It it was such a traumatic experience for all of those college students at that time that a lot of them have really just moved on from it. And
I
I'm
don't
like,
want anything to do with
yep.
it. It's understandable. So let's talk about you mentioned your husband. Your husband is actually on the job. You guys work in the same police department.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I learned
Absolutely
my
not.
lesson. It took me 4 times over, but I learned my lesson. I admit.
Nice. Hey, listen, you
gotta
learn.
learn.
You learn exactly.
I'm a slow learner.
It's okay. It's okay. You help some folks with your slow learning. So let's talk about that. What are pros and cons, right? You guys are both, I mean, well, I can assume, but I'd rather hear it from you. What are the pros and cons of having a partner, a spouse that is on the job as well? And what was that like, this process? You already mentioned he was very supportive.
Very supportive. So I got married later in life. I think I was 33, 34. I had been through a lot of failed relationships. I met my husband on my mother's birthday, which was May 25th, and we were married July 25th of that year.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Make it happen, girl.
I am an impulsive person. But when I had met him, I didn't know that we actually went to the same high school together. He was an underclassman, and he's like, you don't remember? And I'm like, well, I had a baby. So no, I really wasn't focused on hanging out and doing high school things. But because he came from the same neighborhood, we knew that that our values were extreme. They were the same. Yeah. Family, loyalty, integrity, and honesty were like our tops. And that was everything to me because I had been through so many things in my career. And I'm like, now it makes sense why my relationships really didn't work, was because our value set was different. And it took me a long time to realize that. Yeah. So we ended up getting married, and he works for a federal agency in the city of Dublin, and I work for the county. And yeah, I would say the number one hardest thing for us when we didn't have children, it was our A-type personalities. Oof, let me tell you.
You guys are both the police.
Both police, right. Control freaks.
Yeah.
I just listened to one of the podcasts by Mel Robbins about the let them theory.
Let them. Everyone's letting them.
I'm like, I didn't let my husband
Everyone's
do anything.
getting let.
Yeah, we did not. We were not letters. We did not budge. So, and that goes for law enforcement in general. We don't let them. Yeah. We control them. Yes. And that's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but when we had kids, it was schedule. So my husband's been on midnights for over 7 years, and we have a 6 and a 4-year-old, and so we have to navigate that, and that is not easy. Yeah. I don't get to go and hang out with my girlfriends like everybody else does. Right. I just have to let them go and do their own thing. Yeah. Why I have to be a mom because I don't have a babysitter all the time. Yeah. So that's the hardest part of doing it. Yeah. But he knows how I feel. Yeah. He knows that I am in a male-dominated profession, and he supports it. He doesn't like it all the time, right? But he supports it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that he loves the fact that if something were to happen and we were out in public and I had to, fire off a couple rounds, that I'm going to shoot straight, right? That I could take care of myself.
Right. Exactly.
It's difficult. Yeah. You meet guys who are very secure with themselves, and then you date men that are very insecure. And same thing with women.
Absolutely.
I feel it's even harder navigating relationships in law enforcement with people who don't understand that, and that don't understand that being the only woman in a male-dominated profession or on a beat, and your husband's partners with them, that I'm not trying to be romantically involved with your husband, right? But but we're going to be together. Like we're going to be, we're going to be clearing houses together. Yes. We're going to be eating dinner together. Yes. I know statistically it doesn't look good for women on patrol. I'm sorry. Right. Like I've had my fair share of mistakes, but I can't imagine not being in law enforcement and dating an officer. I mean,
really?
Oh no.
Really?
Because I don't know if I would have the same confidence I have now.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Because I see it. I see like when I sometimes get introduced, and probably for a lot of women,
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Misty. Your husband's my partner. And they go, you? No, not you.
Right. Oh,
I
man.
actually had to go through this when I
That's
was
funny.
working out here in the Tri-Valley from our substation. I had 3 partners. So I was partnered up with a guy, and I would always wonder why, like, we had to wait. I start at 5:00. We both start at 5 and we're partners. And then we would wait till like the later shift came on, and then we would switch partners. And I didn't really understand why that was happening.
Right.
And then finally asked one of the guys, I said, I'm really confused. He's supposed to be my partner, but I'm sitting in the car with you. Not that it matters,
Right.
but I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
And he told me it was because their wives did not want me sitting in the patrol cars with them. And the funny thing was is I knew both of their wives.
Oh, wow.
And
That's a twist.
I know. And I was like, kind of,
Yeah.
I was pretty hurt.
Absolutely. Do they think that I would do something with their husbands? Like
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah.
And at the time I was dating a guy who had multiple personalities. So I was very busy. So it didn't even matter. But I was pulled into a meeting. I was obviously the only female with, I think it was the captain, the lieutenants, the sergeants, and these deputies at the time. And I was sitting there and I felt so alone. And they were like, well, it doesn't really matter that Misty is who she is. You know, they just didn't want to ride with a female. And my lieutenant was like, that's not true. Because her gender and who she is plays into a huge fact of why we're even sitting in this room right now. So don't sit here and say that. Right. And I was like, at least somebody spoke up for me because I was so devastated.
Yeah.
And
that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Gonna hurt your feelings a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That they would think that you were that way.
Yes.
Yeah. I totally get that.
It was rough. I faced a lot of those kinds of things as I went through my career, like a lot of us did, especially, I mean, years ago when you were the only female, right? And I was wearing eyelashes and acrylic nails before they were really a thing. Right? So,
listen, we could probably talk
all day. Goodness. I know
we could talk all day, and I would love to. Who knows? Maybe we have a part 2. Who knows? But so we're kind of getting towards the end here, and I just I like for the people to see us again as human beings. Okay, so I like to ask this question: what is one thing that you'd want the public to understand about people behind the uniform, about us, about officers? If there was one thing that you could tell the people that are watching who are not police, what is that one thing that you want them to understand or advice or anything that you want to tell them?
I mean, I would say we're human.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's why we're on this show. It's because we're human. They know we're human. I would say the one thing I would like to tell everybody is that, darn it, we're human. We're normal human beings. We're average. To an extent, I do believe in the standard that we are held to a higher standard. I do believe that wholeheartedly. But I want you to know that we are compassionate. We are empathetic. Not everybody is that way to the highest degree, but but we are at the basic level, normal.
Right.
Whatever normal
is.
I cry. I laugh. I cry a lot more than I probably have ever in my entire life, as I reflect on my career, and that you can have conversations with us. Like, don't be afraid to come and talk to me. Don't be afraid because you see the uniform that I'm going to be a jerk or that, you know, I am ego driven. I do have an ego. We all do. I think it's important. But please come, let's engage. Unless I'm like giving somebody a ticket, don't come over and say hi to me because that's unsafe. But if I'm just sitting in my car or if I want to do a business check and I'm walking around, like your little kids come up to me, like you could come up to me too. It's okay. And that we're not always going to be the enemy.
Yes. Listen, I agree. Misty, this is awesome. Like I said, I can't believe this time went by so fast.
It
My
did.
goodness. We could sit here and talk all freaking day. Listen, you guys, this is Lieutenant Misty Caruso. Check her out if you haven't seen it. Check out the Netflix documentary, American Nightmare. It is a crazy story. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I almost went to go, do a building search in my own house afterwards.
It's crazy.
I almost slept with my gun under my pillow, low key. I was like, that guy was crazy. Go check it out. If you want to be on the show, if you want to have this conversation with me, you want to have a human conversation with Officer Jill, I welcome you. Reach out to me. My information is below. Go ahead, subscribe and like. Is there a way that people can contact you, Misty?
I mean,
I know you do speaking, engagements, and things like that.
Podcast.
Yes.
You can hit me up on the IG.
On the IG.
On the
Don't
IG.
say it like that, girl. You're going to show your age. Say on IG. Not the IG.
On the 5. Or I have a website, mistycaruso.com.
Absolutely.
So.
Listen, reach out to her. We Matt even mentioned this, but we didn't get a chance to meet, but we were at a conference, a huge women's conference down in San Diego, and some friends and coworkers. I couldn't get in, y'all, because it was standing room only, like literally standing room only. And my friends came out and I was like, dude, that story, it was crazy. You should get her on your podcast. And I was like, all right, let's do this. So if you want to book Misty, come on your podcast, you want her to speak, I know you do public speaking, keynote speaking, reach out to her. I'll put all her information in the comments of this video here. Again, if you want to be on the show, reach out to me. But most importantly, you guys, remember, if you show me your human side, I show you mine. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.